Today I want to cover the differences between the 5-watt laser engraver and the 18-watt laser engraver and their safety concerns, and whether or not you're using it just to engrave these nice things like the coaster I have here, or you're using it to print nanoparticles from your minerals. Both of you are going to want to listen to this video carefully. There are two types of laser engravers I want to cover today. First is this 5-watt laser. This laser engraver is a laser cube, I call it. It's all self-contained. The laser is inside this little space, and what you want to engrave, you put down in here, and you work the software, and you engrave your whatever it is you're engraving. In our case, we use nanoparticles, so we'd fill the petri dish with water and our sample, and we would put it in there, close the safety lid, access the software, and engrave away. Now, this is the first laser I got. It's only a 5-watt laser, but powerful nonetheless. But I find these are the best for safety. The whole thing is covered. The laser light can't get out. The big danger with these lasers is the laser light. They are extremely bright. You cannot look at it with your eyes. You need to have some sort of protection around it. These cube lasers offer a lot of protection because they cover the whole thing. And there's a safety switch. If you start to pick this up, unit shuts down. Although, to be perfectly honest, you got to pick this up pretty hard before the unit shuts down, but at least it has some sort of a safety device in there. The other kind of laser, which is the 18-watt laser, is one of these larger lasers. I don't have it here. It actually is too big for the laboratory, so I'll show you some pictures of it. I got it someplace else sitting on a card table for the time being until I can figure out what to do with it in the lab. But that one is much bigger, and it doesn't come with a cover. I had to buy this, I call it a laser tent, to put around it. But as you can see, the protective cover around the laser is much smaller, only covering the area just around the laser and nothing else. Now that, if you do an engraving, that's okay, because the chance of the laser light leaking out is going to be minimal. But when you stick a petri dish underneath there, you got a space now. The laser head like an inch away from whatever you're doing. The laser is now in the petri dish, and this glass petri dish, the blue laser light will fly out at all sorts of angles, and it can be quite dangerous. And for that reason, really make sure you use the laser glasses no matter what. Even this protective thing, I will use the laser glasses just to protect my eyes. It doesn't take much to damage them. And on the 18-watt laser, it becomes even more important. I mean, even with the tent around the 18-watt laser, I have a towel I put over the front of the thing just so that when I'm walking by it, my eyes don't go in there and look at this thing. That's how bright that 18-watt laser is. So the safety concern for your eyes on these lasers is important. The 18-watt laser was actually hot enough to burn this slate, melt itself right into the slate with it. That's how hot that 18-watt laser can get. So whatever laser you decide, I think it is extremely important to make sure you get a laser that is completely covered, like the mini one here is. The larger ones, you can get them either way. You can get them all open like the one I got, or you can get them with the plastic enclosure like this that goes around the whole thing. Those are becoming much more popular because I think people are realizing that these open ones really need to be in a specialized environment. That's the only recommendation I can make on it. More powerful laser means you will be able to do more potent things with it. With our nanoparticles, you can make nanoparticles more quicker. Some of the nanoparticles more quicker than other nanoparticles. And as far as laser engraving goes, depends on the material you're using. 5-watt laser does this very nicely. Wood. It also does slate very nicely. So it depends what you're cutting into and what you want to do. Now, just to catch up on the backstory, if you watched my previous video on I had trouble with the laser engraver. This laser engraver burnt out, probably because the reflected light came down and went up, straight up, back into the laser and burned it out. Did not realize that highly reflective metals we have to be very cautious of, and there are some really reflective metals that we're using when we laser engrave. This is silicone. This is highly reflective metal also. We have a workaround, and that is to put the Petri dish up on an angle. Put something underneath the Petri dish, put it on a 2mm to a 4mm angle, so that the laser, when it comes down and hits the smooth surface, bounces off into the back of the unit away from the laser light. Now, for your laser engraving people, if you're laser engraving a shiny metal, like stainless steel or something really, really shiny, they recommend that you either paint the metal first or use laser tape. I'm Tom, Alchemy Wizard. Have a great day.